They were the last face thousands ever saw. Their names struck fear and became legends. Charles-Henri Sanson, Jack Ketch, Albert Pierrepoint. Executioners whose reputations echoed through history. But who were they, really? Behind the axe, the rope, the guillotine? Were they cold-blooded killers or burdened servants of justice? Let's uncover the shocking truth behind the world's most famous executioners. Charles-Henri Sanson didn't choose the blade. He inherited it. Born into a family of French executioners dating back 4 generations, Sanson was expected to take over the job. At just 39 years old, he performed the most infamous beheading in French history, King Louis XVI. Sanson oversaw nearly 3,000 executions during the French Revolution. His job was precise, and he took pride in delivering quick, clean deaths. But his journals reveal a man tortured by duty. He wrote, "It is not hatred that drives my hand, but necessity. Justice may be blind, but I see every face I kill." Despite his service, Sanson died in near obscurity, remembered more by the blade than by the burden. If Sanson was the symbol of efficiency, Jack Ketch was the opposite. He served as England's executioner during the reign of Charles II and became notorious for his clumsy, brutal executions. The most infamous, the beheading of Lord Monmouth in 1685. Ketch struck him 5 times before the head was fully severed. The crowd was horrified. Some called it incompetence. Others accused him of sadism. Either way, Jack Ketch became slang for the devil himself in English culture. Despite public hatred, Ketch remained the king's servant, a man trapped in a role he may never have wanted. No personal letters survive, but his legacy is written in fear. Albert Pierrepoint is perhaps the most efficient executioner in modern history. Between 1932 and 1956, he hanged over 400 people, including Nazi war criminals, after the Nuremberg trials. He was professional, quiet, methodical. His goal, a death so fast the condemned didn't suffer. He saw himself not as a punisher, but as a technician of death. But later in life, Pierrepoint had a change of heart. In his autobiography, he wrote, "I do not believe that any one of the hundreds of executions I carry out has prevented a single murder." Despite dedicating his life to the justice system, he came to believe that the death penalty was ultimately futile. He retired quietly, opening a pub in Yorkshire, where he served drinks to people who never knew what he'd done. Different eras, different tools, different motivations, but all 3 shared one tragic bond: isolation. Executioners were feared and needed, but never embraced. Their hands did what society demanded, yet society turned away from them. Many had no friends. Some couldn't marry. They were ghosts in plain sight. And yet, without them, the system didn't function. They were the final link in the chain of justice. But the question remains, was it justice, or just ritualized killing? Charles-Henri Sanson once stood above a crowd of thousands. Jack Ketch faced the boos of a mob. Albert Pierrepoint helped close a chapter on one of history's darkest crimes. But all 3 died with the weight of lives on their conscience. These men weren't monsters. They were mirrors, reflecting the values, fears, and punishments of their time. If we remember them, it shouldn't be to glorify death, but to ask why we needed men like them in the first place.